Oh, wait, shit, we're recording? Fuck that. Hello, I'm Lucy, otherwise known as Big Cat. I am the subsequent founder and owner of BIgHat Studios, and simply, let's just be real here, I am the best.
Uh, don't listen to Satan. I'm Teffy. I'm the best. Who am I, you ask? I mean, where the fuck you are? Are you a cop? Huh? You fucking rat?
Heavy, it's for a video. Calm down.
Shit. Well, I'm Teffy. I'm BIgHat's developer. I help Satan code with the bots, the plugins, and some of the modded shit for the server.
Hello, I am Gold. I am BIgHat's shiniest head admin, and I am in charge of the staff on our network. And for your information, none of those two are the best. I obviously am.
What are the problems, risks, and obstacles we are facing, and why aren't we concerned?
I would say that the largest problem, risk, and obstacle is diminishing retention at the moment. Of course, as the servers slowly aged a little bit, and also we've let them kind of sit there on their own. There's less influx of players, there's less consistent activity on our Discord and the servers, and this all has an impact on staff in particular with their drive and their motivation to do certain things. Now we are working on certain things for this, in the least PR-ish way possible, and I truly mean that. We are working to help engage, I suppose, our staff members, and that did really sound PR-ish, but get them motivated to actually do things again for the long term. And I think that comes in tandem with the fact we've given ourselves a longer period of development for our latest projects, because we're aware that people are busy and sometimes you have to give way to certain things. Not everyone is as capable, and that also comes down to the fact that we're not getting a lot of new staff and a lot of new capable people. So we're balancing it out, and we are working on it.
How is the process of delegation in the staff team currently, and what are the changes in the foreseeable future?
So currently, the main focus is obviously on Lucifer. He still has control over most of the development of both servers and the main planning and ideas of both servers. While me and Teffy have taken over the managing of the staff team, and this includes things like applications and assigning people new jobs regarding the plan for the servers. And we're planning on expanding this delegation in the future. It kind of depends on when, as will be explained further down the line. But we're currently thinking about training up our current staff, and obviously once we have new staff members, they will obviously be included. But all of this will again be touched on in a later question further down the line.
Why are we so focused on Cinder and Tunnel Vision currently?
To put that simply, we really just don't have the resources currently to spread over both servers. And when I say that, I mainly mean staff members, because they are a fundamental requirement, I think, of getting a lot of things done. Typically, I try to do things single-handedly, and that's not always the best approach, but second to that is the requirement that I have to have support. I have to have people to do certain things. You take away those capable people, and, the time it takes to do certain things is greater. And when we're working on two projects at once, you really need that efficiency. So taking away the kind of support pillars there and making things take longer.
What is happening with Pixelmon, and why aren't we working on it?
As stated by the last question, we simply just don't have the resources currently to tend to Pixelmon and start developing and fixing things. Although I think we should in any other circumstance. With where we stand currently, with our current position, I think that what we are trying to do, despite from an outside perspective, is currently quite smart. And although that means keeping some people in the dark, yes, and keeping Pixelmon in the dark, yes, what we're hoping to do is breathe a breath of new life into the entire network. And what this requires from us is to have a really strong center core. And what we need from that is a finished, perfect example. And we want that to be Cinder. And from this, we hopefully can get more staff, more supporting members of the team, and then we can start to develop these members of the team. So hopefully we can get people to run other mod packs and other servers like Pixelmon. So we're looking at things really long term currently, and that does mean for the time being we are again leaving Pixelmon in the dark. However, in saying this, we have in theory got some things planned for Pixelmon, including events and other things. It's just currently we can't exactly execute them, and there's no point of releasing half-baked stuff because that's why we're in this mess in the first place.
Why aren't we placing more staff members in charge of servers?
To be in charge of a server, like a high-ranking staff member has to show two main attributes, and those are one, that they have the drive and dedication to actually do the job, so they need to be motivated, right? They need to actually want to help the server. And the second one is they need some sort of skill or experience with running a server beforehand, so that they're actually capable of doing so. Like if the person running the server would most likely be put in direct comparison to someone like Lucifer, and they would need to stack up with someone like Lucifer. And therefore, currently, while we have members of our staff team who fulfill one of these two requirements, there is not really someone who fulfills both of them. And that is why we currently, for example, don't have anyone in charge of the Pixelmon server separately from KOC, because no one really fulfills the requirements to be put into that position. And therefore, like after KOC is completed and we have finished this big project we're currently working on, we are planning on training, as I said before, we plan on training up our lower staff to have more of the requirements fulfilled so that they can actually rise through the ranks. And of course, obtaining new staff with already pre-existing capabilities will also help in that regard. So the main issue currently is that we don't have anyone, and we don't have the time to train someone up to be put into that position.
How do we plan on obtaining new capable staff?
So currently, obtaining new staff is not really realistic, as both servers are currently on the downtime. KOC mainly because we're redeveloping it, and Pixelmon because currently the player numbers are down. It is not realistic to believe that people are currently interested in joining the staff team. And we know that, which is why we are currently, as much as we want people to join the staff team, we're not currently focused on that. We're hoping that with the full release of KOC, after it is completely done and we're happy with it, the new influx of players and retention of those players will make it easier for some people to decide to join the staff team. And therefore, we hope that the new staff that we get through the new release of KOC will be able to help us with this. And for that reason, we have also decided to rework the application form to suit our purposes better. So that means, for example, introducing a section for certain skills an individual has, focusing more on the experience rather than what they would do in situations, and maybe even adding a interview an in-person interview over Discord, for example, to make sure that certain social skills are developed and just to get a feel for the person. And we hope that all of these steps would help us in gaining new staff which are able to further the development of the server and make it a better place for everyone.
What would we do with capable staff?
So with staff that already bring with them certain qualifications or experience, we would directly promote them into a position where they can help. An example of that is Teffy. For example, he I think got promoted from Chapmod directly to developer after he has shown that he can help Lucy the desired um, with the desired tasks. And that's pretty much what we would do with anyone who comes with predetermined qualifications and experience. For people who are new, we would most likely do like our current plan is most likely to get them into chat mod and then have a higher up staff member teach them how to rise up the ranks and like get them used to their role and all of that. So have like a training program um, in place so that we can not rely that we don't have to rely on um, experience from other people, but that we can build our own capable staff from our community, and I hope that that will lead to the betterment of the staff team.
Why aren't we utilizing the entirety of our manpower and workforce?
Well, again, I would say that a difficult one, but I think people are busy, and currently with COVID and the restrictions being lifted, and people are starting to get back into their usual lives a little bit more. People are doing more things, even if they didn't previously. I feel like what I've noticed at least is people are going out and doing more things just because they can now. They're enjoying the ability to go outside, and I don't blame them for that. I don't think that's a leading factor in this problem, but I think it should be in the equation somewhere. I think it should be recognized because it has had a subsequent effect along with... So I mentioned briefly before, people are a little bit disenchanted. Their motivation is a little bit, less than it was before, and I think part of that comes down to the fact they're out more as well. I think that's part of it, and of course there's nothing wrong with that. Even myself, I have been outside a lot more. I've been doing a lot more things. I've been busy as a person, whether that be with work or me time, I suppose. And alongside this, I think it takes a lot of people a lot more time than we realize to get used to their responsibilities, and we're trying to delegate, like we said, and we're trying to warm people up to new roles, doing more things, and when you look at the entire picture now, with the fact that people are out doing more, they're busier, they're not as motivated, and now we're also trying to get them to do more things, that entire larger frame of events is why we're not utilizing our entire manpower currently, because we're just trying to get people back into the fold. We're trying to get people back into the cycle of what we actually want. And I don't think as well. I've got to give some credit to this. I don't think I've made it entirely easy for people to fulfill my role or to fulfill actions that I would have otherwise done myself. And in tandem with that, I think not everyone wants to help or do as much as myself or Gold. So all of that together is what I would say answers that question. That's why we don't utilize the entirety of our manpower and workforce currently. However, in time, we hope to change that.
Why are we choosing a path of detriment over a more straightforward path?
Previous experience, mistakes, and development have all shown us first we need to really break this aggressive cycle that's repeating in our servers. I think I've already given this example, but I think it's the best way of looking at it. It's just how many times we've re-released EMR now, and how many times we've had to work on EMR, and the fact that it even turned into Kingdom of Cinder. This all aims to show that there's a larger problem at play here. And what we've been used to doing is trying to fix all the small problems down at the ground level, but really the larger problem is this repetitive and aggressive cycle that we need to break first, because otherwise we're just going to end up here in the same position down the line, not even far from now, trying to do the same thing over again. So what we're really aiming to do is just, again, for the third time now, break this cycle. And that does mean choosing a path of detriment in a sense. It's a far harder road to go down because we're making decisions that we wouldn't have otherwise made. We're doing things opposite to what we have before, and this is all from previous experiences and mistakes that we've made in the past. I think a lot of this comes down to like the hype that we generated before with our previous servers, and there's a detriment to doing this. Although it feels great, it motivates everyone on the team, including myself. In the long run, the damage this does is tremendous, and I'll shed some light on that. And when there's this hype generated, when people start setting their expectations, it sets deadlines on us. It makes us want to release sooner because people won't wait for forever. They just simply won't. There is a peak to their interest, and we're trying to reach it before it flees. And often that results in us releasing an unfinished product. And then what starts happening is we start adding in stuff to keep player retention, to keep people interested, to keep people playing. That's stuff we wouldn't have otherwise added. Or a lot of the time, it isn't up to standard because simply we don't have the ability to do it to standard when we're also focused on the players themselves. Or the fact that we simply logically can't because the players are playing and we don't want to stop them from playing to implement it properly. These are all detriments to the actual server themselves. And given a month or two, in the long term there, what that does as an impact over the entire server is it means that our original end goal is now entirely out of reach because we've essentially given up on it and we've just tended to like the chaos of just adding anything and everything to keep people playing. And that doesn't mean that they're all bad ideas. It just means that none of the ideas that we're adding are actually of relevance, or they don't line up with the standards that we had set for ourselves. So a lot of the time these things are flawed, and that means we end up removing them again anyway. And I think the best example of that is the races themselves. The impossible amount of time, that we've added those and removed them is just crazy because we've just never spent the time to get them right. And that's what we're doing now. We're just spending a longer period of time getting things right. So when we release, we don't have to worry about removing things. We don't have to worry about redeveloping things. Our concern after we release this server is fixing things. And that's a very large difference. Fixing small bugs, glitches, and problems with our coding is far, far different to trying to add in entire game elements because we released early. Yes, this does mean that we're going to have to wait a large amount of time. We're going to have to spend this long development time when no one's playing, no one's donating, other servers may be also dying a little bit. But in the long run, the way I look at this is there is only so much we can bleed. And this metaphor I'll stick with closely because I am prepared to bleed in this short term for a better product in the long term. That does mean, again, keeping Pixelmon in the dark purposely, and that sounds bad to say out loud, but it's simply the position that we're in and the option we've chosen to go with. And we've truly chosen this because we think it's the better option. It's the best option we have. We're trying to change things because this repetitive cycle is pointless. It hasn't got us anywhere so far, so we're making a change. We're doing things different. And again, I want to reiterate that in the long run, we are working to make the best product available, the best server we can. And that is taking up a massive amount of our focus and a massive amount of our time, and that's what we're going to continue doing for now. And hopefully, in the long run, again, this will have a good impact on the other servers. I just want to quickly, at the end here, just say thank you for watching, everyone. This is the progress and development we're going through currently. And I just want to give a short mention here, just for Divine. I want to quickly say, fuck you.
Fuck you.
This took us 4 hours, nearly on the dot, to actually make this, because I had to redo my audio. And then we had to sit down and actually edit this because the production value went from, it's pretty much just a joke to answer Divine to, let's actually turn this into a podcast, Gold said. Because podcasts are good, Gold said.